If you're asking if that concept is a tool in the box, the answer is yes. But it's just a tool in the box. There are a number of tools in the box. One tool is making myself do nothing, get out of the room and go swimming for a mile. One tool is get out of the city and take a trip because it's the only way that you'll stop thinking about this. One tool is walk around on the street and see if you see someone who looks like that character, because maybe if you see someone who looks like that character, watching what they do will give you an idea. And one is, let's imagine it's a movie. So you get a whole toolbox of techniques. Over the years, one thing works, next time it doesn't work, something else works, then something else works. After a while, there are about 9 things, and you run through the list when you're stuck, and you hope that one of them works or some combination. In terms of that tool, I start writing when the bulk of impressions overwhelms me, and a kind of confused feeling reduces itself into a vast calm and a knowledge of what the story is. When I'm writing nonfiction and don't have to make anything, nonfiction is a lot easier. I mean, it's a lot easier because you don't have to make anything up. You don't have to make anything up. Everything really happened. You never have to wonder if it would happen or not, because it did happen. And when you and so you have long periods where it's only research. You don't start writing until you know the whole story. I mean, in novels, you start writing before you know the whole story, because as you write reveals part of the story. But in nonfiction, you don't start writing until you know everything, basically, unless it's an evolving situation. And by then, you've spent weeks with these characters, and you pretty much know which stories you want to use. And you have so much material that it becomes, for me, a question of deciding where the material will go in the story. So I have a sifting process rather than a thought process. That I go through all my files, and I'll have a room full of files. I mean, interviews that I transcribe by hand, articles, trips, impressions, diaries. I mean, everything. Just for months and months and months. All I did every day, 10 hours a day, was take notes. And so I go through everything, and I understand what the chapters will be, what the concept of each chapter will be. And then I go through every single page and I code it. Something on this page will go in this chapter and this chapter. This is a military story. This is a humanitarian story. This is a food aid story. This is a story about cold or hot. And then there are folders for all of those things. And then those, and I know which chapter. And then when it's time to write, I go through all the files, I take out the appropriate pages, I put it in the file for that chapter. And then there's so much information that it's a question of how to write it. The creativity goes into the words, it goes into the descriptions, it goes into the passion, but it doesn't go into making anything up, because I've already been those places. And in that respect, it's easier. So writing fiction is entirely different, and research is way different, totally different.